Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. It's time to get started with my update 1.48 car reviews, starting off with of course the Honda NSX GT500 from the year 2000. The legend finally returns and it completes a fairly legendary trio with the Tom's Castrol Super GT500 and of course the Pennzoil GTR GT500 as well. All three cars are now finally in the game, and in today's video we're finally going to review it. So let's start off as always with the price point. I believe this is the cheapest of the three legendary GT500 machines. This price ranges at 1.5 million credits. As you can see in terms of the grouping, of course it's a group 3 like the rest of them. 714.63 pp, drivetrain is MR, 481 brake horsepower, weighing 1150 kilograms and is naturally aspirated. So the car itself is a fairly important one in terms of Gran Turismo and its history. Of course it completes the JGTC trio of the Supra, Skyline GTR and of course the NSX itself. One winning in 97, 98 and 99 going to the Pennzoil, and of course Honda finally getting that win in the year 2000 with this exact car that you're seeing here, which is of course the Mugen X Dome Castrol Honda NSX. Now in terms of the car itself, it's a rather quite strange one. It's a championship winning car that actually never ever won a race the entire season. In fact, it was more due to the fact that it was very consistent. Now this is something that did also happen for a couple of other JGTC seasons, which was 2001 and 2003 respectively. Whilst it was without a win, this thing took 4 second positions throughout the entire season, including the final round. Overall, it was the clear winner in the end, finishing up with 74 points, with the second place on 68 and third on 66. Overall, this was the first time that Honda finally took that JGTC championship, whilst in terms of the overall vehicles, things maybe like such the Supra and the GTR are probably more notable in terms of their overall championships. There is no denying that this is probably the best looking of the bunch, and overall perhaps the fastest too. So of course for the longest time this car was on that leaked car list for what seems like absolutely forever. It's pretty much a day one leaked car, and ever since then it's just kind of been sat in limbo. However, it is finally released with 1.48 alongside some other of those very much requested leaked vehicles. This one definitely takes the center stage, being the mainstay of all of the screenshots for the update as well as the trailer, and of course introduces another Group 3 race car. Now obviously this does sit in the Group 3 category, however its main rivals will mainly just be those other classic GT500 machines, mainly being the 99 Pennzoil GTR and of course the 97 Tom's Castrol Supra. Now in terms of the way that it handles in Gran Turismo 7, it's quite slightly different from the 08 model. Of course this is the third GT500 NSX that is to feature, those others being the 08 and the 2016, and this one certainly does feel a fair bit different. In terms of the overall strengths of this car, it is very good through the corners, however it does have a tendency to be very twitchy. It also absolutely seems to hate curbs. If you run on curbs that are just slightly too high, it does seem to carry the car away, and its main overall performance is the fact that it will absolutely rocket out of corners and does absolutely blast down the straights, leaving everything outstanding. This is a seriously quick machine, especially in Group 3 standards. In terms of the looks, this is a very aggressive looking car. Whilst it does look rather quite similar to what we see with the 08 model, I do feel like these early generations of Honda NSX were absolutely some of the best looking race cars to ever exist. There is just something extremely good looking about the way that the aggressive aero is mixed with probably one of the most notable JDM designs ever made. Whilst for myself and many other players this is perhaps one of the most requested cars to actually arrive in the game off that leaked car list, it's a very hit and miss situation. When running under BOP, the fact that it is an older machine really can be a hit and miss situation. So just be aware that under the current BOP this does suffer the same fate as both the Pennzoil as well as the Tom's Castrol Supra as well. However, when BOP is removed, how does it perform up against both of the other classic GT500s? Well, I'd say in terms of the overall balance, the Supra was definitely the best of the bunch, and I would say that in terms of being beginner friendly and the easiest to just jump in and drive, the Tom's Castrol Supra still holds that candle. However, in terms of just being the probably best of the bunch of the, holy trio, I guess, of JGTC, for me the NSX definitely feels much quicker than both the other two cars pretty much combined. In terms of overall pace, I would say that the Castrol Supra, being that bit older, is just slightly off the pace of the Nissan GTR. However, this thing will absolutely walk all over that GTR. For some reason, this is just a seriously quick bit of kit, absolutely easy to throw through pretty much any type of track when BOP is not enabled. Again, its high top speed mixed with incredibly aggressive downforce makes for a very hard to drive but very rewarding vehicle. Certainly is probably the more difficult of the three to really get a hold of, but once you do, you can get some seriously impressive lap times with this thing. Also, it absolutely definitely sounds the best as well. So whilst it does get hampered with BOP, once that is taken away, this is certainly the best of that holy trio in my opinion, and I think a lot of people will agree. Again, it's not as beginner friendly as something like the Supra, and for me it's much better than the middle ground that is the GTR. In my opinion, this is certainly one that was worth waiting for, and it's probably going to be a car that I'll use for a very long time. For me, I absolutely fell in love with this thing when I first saw it in Gran Turismo 3, and I think it'll probably always remain that way. So don't forget to let me know what you think of this car in the comment section down below. So if I had to rank them from my personal favourite all the way down to the weakest of that three of the trio, the NSX would of course be the top. Then for me it would have to be the Supra. Again, it is easier to drive and probably a little bit more off the pace than these other two. However, it is just absolutely beautiful mixed with that amazing sound design. And then unfortunately the GTR is probably the least best of the bunch, and I can't really pinpoint why. So there we have it, the holy JGTC trio is now finally in Gran Turismo 7. Is it a worthy addition to the game? Absolutely. Is it worthy of being the hero car of this update? Again, absolutely. I really enjoy this car, and I certainly think you guys will as well. So the car is going to come up and across the line to finish its lap. This is the point where we're going to head over and see where it ranks in terms of its overall competition. So this car falls in the 800 pp category. Some other notable vehicles that fall into this as well is the Suzuki V6 Scudo Pikes Peak, and of course the other two of the GT500 machines. As you can see, in terms of overall pace, the Honda NSX GT500 absolutely wipes the floor by over 10 seconds from the second place Toyota Supra, and then finally just off of the pace by a couple of seconds is the Nissan GTR. So there we go. The NSX is definitely the best of that holy trinity, and I can certainly see it being a fan favourite for a long time to come. Don't forget to let me know what you think of this car in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care guys, peace.